journaling time.
Hey, what is up, party people? Welcome back to Journal Party Live. Oh, say something, Alex. I gotta make sure your mic's working.
Hello.
Yeah, it's cutting in and out for a second. I don't know, it's probably my internet connection. But
Hello.
speaking of connection, let's connect with some people. We got some people showing up here. Linda was early, as was Shanda.
Guys.
Awesome. Gabby's in the house. Two
Happy early
days,
birthday.
it's your birthday. Yeah,
Awesome.
nice. All right, Melissa's here. Good to see you, Melissa. All right. I love that we had people on early and chatting and stuff. That's how you know it's going to be good. Hope you guys are ready for this one. I'll bet you we could all use a little bit of hope. Art project. Hi, everyone. It's been so long that I've journaled. I think this is coming at the right time for me, especially the topic it highlights. Everything has felt like it's falling apart. Needed some motivation to see the good. Yeah, I
Good.
feel that. I think a lot of us are feeling that. Crazy world we're living in. Also, how is it halfway through October? Like what craziness? Trish is here. What's up, Trisha? Mary Kay's in the house. Charlenia. What's up, Patty? Good to see you. Awesome. Yeah, so we've got a pretty good one for us this evening. Um, I know it's been a heavy week, month, maybe heavy year for a lot of us, and it's easy to feel weighed down by everything that's going on, by what we feel the future could be. I feel it too, and I think as confirmed by some of our comments, a lot of us need this session tonight. And so one of the things that I want to call out before we jump in or anything like that is that I've been thinking a lot about hope lately. And, hope is one of those things that I was sort of like resistant to. I think I heard like Tony Robbins say one time, like, oh, you shouldn't hope, like, you're just hoping things are going to happen. And it's like, yeah, I kind of get what he's talking about there. But, that's viewing hope as something that's passive. And I think that hope can actually be an active thing, one where we are actually getting into action and we're deciding to believe in the possibility that things can and will improve and aligning ourselves towards that. And I think, we talk a lot about how you show up in this world. And I think, leaving room for that, it's an absolute must. You have to have the belief that and the hope, right? That things can and will get better, and then show up to the challenge, right? All of us have an important role to play in our world, and we're all the main character in our world in some way, but we're not the only character, and I think that how we participate really matters, and so looking forward to all of your participation this evening. Obviously, we're not going to try to solve all of our problems in 20 minutes. I think what we're looking for here is like little sparks, little micro moments that remind us that good things actually do exist. And I think that's where resilience starts. So it's going to be a pretty gentle, low pressure session this evening. We're not going to be forcing positivity. We're going to be gentle, as we usually are, I think. We're gonna acknowledge the challenges. We're not gonna try to pretend like like reality doesn't exist. But we're not gonna let our challenges steal the show. And one thing I also want to remind everyone of is that your journal is a safe and non-judgmental space for whatever comes up. So you can be brave, you can be bold here. And I challenge you to be bold and claim a future that's full of hope for yourself. And how about a now that is full of hope for yourself, right? Like we don't have to necessarily wait for, something magical to come rescue us in the future. I think everything happens in the here and now. And, another quick note, some of you guys probably got the email that I sent out and the post that I made, but tonight's extra special because we are all here together live for what I guess the last time, not forever. We're certainly coming back, but we're going to be going on hiatus because, as some of you know, our dear co-founder and furry best buddy, Bowie, our Frenchie, is going through some medical challenges here, and we're actually going to be supporting him through some pretty intense therapy next week. And so we just want to be there, fully present for him and supporting him and loving him. This whole thing wouldn't exist if he didn't just light up our hearts every single day. And we owe him that. He's certainly earned it. But we'll be back. I just I want to be transparent and let you guys know that we're going to be putting the content on hold for just a little bit, just so we can focus on that and really hold on to some hope for him. He's one of the things I think about is, sometimes you hear like what the reality is. And, I do a lot of like things like advertising and stuff like that. And you hear, I rely on statistics, and sometimes statistics can be really scary, but also, part of statistics, I've been thinking about this lately, is outliers, right? And our pup is certainly a rare specimen and certainly an outlier. And so we're hoping for, a positive outlier outcome for him. And nonetheless, we want to just be there and enjoy that time with him. And so, thank you all for being so supportive. And we've been, receiving some really sweet messages from all of you guys, and just really appreciate it. As much as we're like, we're technically a company, a business or whatever, like I feel like what we have here is really cool. It's not just like a club, like it's got family vibes, and we really have been feeling the love. And so all of that really fuels us and helps us to show up during the good times and the bad times. And also just want to be careful not to judge anything or prejudge anything as necessarily good or bad. I think every moment has something to teach us. And so I'm looking forward to sharing these next few moments with all of you. You may have caught that I mentioned that the session would be 20 minutes. So one of the things that I've been doing is trying to do a bit of research to see like what is most helpful as far as what's been studied with journaling. And there seems to be a sweet spot that research points to, where it's about a 20-minute session is where you get all the goodness of journaling. Another thing that I've been thinking about, just in my own experience as we do these things, and some of the feedback that we've heard, is that some of you guys need a little bit more time with some of these prompts. And so I'm thinking, not thinking, we're actually doing this. We're going to be shifting a little bit more towards quality over quantity. Then again, we're giving you more time per prompt, so maybe that is quantity. I don't know. Anyway, we're doing 5 prompts, 4 minutes per prompt. So that's a little bit different than 10 prompts, 3 minutes per prompt. So fewer prompts, a little bit more time, and hopefully I think we can get those prompts to stick a little bit better, and kind of get into alignment with some of the studies that I've been checking out here. So anyway, speaking of checking out, let me see what's been going on in the chat here as I've been yammering on. I see we've got Heather's in the house. Hello. Patty says, I believe hope is an action to drive us to continue, not an excuse not to quit and be negative. For sure. Linda sends prayers. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Linda.
Thank you.
Trisha as well. Thank you. And hello, Ohio. What's up, Trisha? All right, folks. Well, I'm excited to get this party started. So let me go ahead and share our screen. All right, and for the uninitiated, for any newbies that we may have in the house, the thing that you're seeing on our screen is the Journal Party Guided Journaling platform, where we have our program for this evening, Holding On to Hope. Like I said, we've got 5 prompts. We're going to do 4 minutes per prompt this time. Alex and I will take turns reading the prompts. We'll journal along with you. And then at the very end, we can all hang out, share our insights, and just hang, be a fan. All right, let me know in the chat if everyone's ready to go. This is your chance to very quickly grab a beverage or a snack, but we're going to get started in just a moment here. As soon as I see a couple thumbs up, or let's go, let's get this party started. Let's get some interactivity, some positive vibes flowing here. We all need it. All right. Trisha likes the new idea. Melissa likes it.
Yeah, I'm
Gabby
sorry.
says, I read a thing about hope 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah, well, hope you bring that into this evening. Mary sending some prayers too. We appreciate it, Mary. All right. Trisha says it's go time. Got a thumbs up here. I think it's time to get this party started. All right, it's 10 after. It's time for us to get moving here. So let me go ahead and hit our little start now button. Alex, I'll start with prompt number one, and you can take the evens. Gosh, evens this evening. That's a
Okay.
tongue twister in the making. All right, here we go. Holding on to hope. Comes prompt number one. Sources of hope. Think about the people, experiences, or beliefs that inspire hope in your life. Write about why these sources are significant to you and how they uplift your spirit.
Acknowledge your challenges. Consider the obstacles you face that may cloud your sense of hope. write down these challenges and the emotions they evoke. Recognizing them is the first step to overcoming.
Here we go with number three. Visualize a hopeful future. Imagine your life a year from now filled with hope and positivity. Describe what that looks like for you. What have you achieved? How do you feel? Let your vision inspire your current journey.
Gratitude for small joys. List the small joys and moments of happiness you encounter daily. Reflect on how these contribute to your overall sense of hope and well being. Celebrate the little things that bring you light.
Affirmations of hope. Craft a series of affirmations that resonate with your hope for the future. Write them down, focusing on positive beliefs about yourself and your journey. Let these affirmations be a source of strength. go.
We did it.
Yay. All right. Love, definitely let us know in the chat how you did with that. Any insights that came up for you? Anything interesting come up for you, Alex?
Obviously this was great timing, given our circumstances with the pup. I'd say that the past couple of weeks, since kind of finding out this information, it certainly felt very hopeless at times. And I know that you
I
and
wrote
I
the
have
same
been,
thing.
yeah, yeah, that's like the first thing that came up. But I think kind of the journey we've been on over the past couple of weeks has been really refreshing, and just the things we've been implementing to make sure that our mental health is okay and that we create a really peaceful and comforting environment in our home. And I really liked prompt number one because it was a nice reminder of how many support systems we do have, and the wonderful people and things in our life, that give us hope. And I know I've been reaching out to friends and loved ones, just because I know the next however long is going to be challenging, and I know I need the support. And what better way than to have some just some love and some check-ins from friends and family. And yeah, I just the journey I referenced about us being on for the past couple of weeks. We're trying all sorts of things, and things like I'm not a super spiritual person, but I've been meaning to kind of delve into that side myself. And it's been really nice to incorporate things like Reiki into our life, and energy healing. And it's been just, it's a nice way and a nice reminder that we do have these tools that are available to us to help us through this. And so I'm certainly feeling much more hopeful than I was about 2 weeks ago. And I also really liked the last prompt about some key phrases, and I can't remember exactly how it was worded.
Affirmation?
Affirmations. Thank you.
Yes.
But the biggest one that I'm holding on to is just keeping hope alive. And it's the best we can do. And also miracles are possible. And so these are the things.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah, well, it's super powerful. Like I think, you touched on something that I found helpful as well, which is like just taking inventory of all the things that support you. And eh, feeling hopeless is not fun. It's a place that I've been a few times in my life, and it's not a place that I enjoy being. And one of the phrases that comes to mind is like, "This too shall pass." And having been through a couple of those. Kind of hopeless feeling periods. It's helpful to remind yourself that it's temporary, like everything. And some of the things in our life we wish weren't temporary, and that's can cause us some suffering. And it's like you trying to grasp onto sand as it slips through your fingers. And I think like the important thing is just to not get lost in our attachments or our ideas of what we think this is, because it's so much bigger than us. And the reality is a lot of us do, well, hopefully you do have some things, and you can take inventory of those things that support you. I hope that you can view this group as something that can support you, or just this practice, even the ability to
absolutely.
get some of these thoughts out of your head and out of your heart, even, right? Like sometimes it's just it can be really overwhelming, especially as we're bombarded with just so much information on a daily basis. Whether like the things that challenge your sense of hope are things that are happening in the world, or in your family life, or your day-to-day, like whatever it is. It's really I found it really helpful to kind of remind myself of like, okay, like I've got a bit of a toolbox, and you can kind of lean on those things, and just constantly reaching for a better thought, a better feeling. Like I think it's really powerful to orient yourself in a sense of optimism, in a sense of resilience, and if you're able to be resourceful come what may. you can, you can always make sure that you're trending in the right direction. And another thing that kind of came up for me as well was just like acknowledging that it's, you know I started writing that, like, in one of my affirmations, that, like, okay, like, I will, I will get better every day. And I think that's a cool affirmation and a cool way to show up. But also, like, I don't want to ignore the human experience, which ebbs and flows. Like, there are gonna be days where you just feel like garbage, and, like, sometimes you just need to, like, cry in your pillow, or hug somebody, and say, like, what, like, mulligan, right? Like, not every shot you take is gonna land. And so it's, I think that's just a part of it. But also not getting lost and swept away by something that you are perceiving as negative. Because the reality is that if you zoom out, like, I mean, that was another thing I was kind of touching on in the first prompts, was like, in some experiences, like, some of the things that I viewed as being like the worst parts of my life, like, if you look at them, well, all of them led to this moment, which I feel incredibly blessed to be a part of. And so it's like, it's so hard sometimes to even acknowledge that, because, like, even some of these things that were so painful, like, well, without those things happening, like, some of my favorite things wouldn't have happened. I mean, we're talking a lot about our pup this evening just because that's what's on our hearts and it's what's going on for us. But, like, you know, we wouldn't have this amazing pup in our life if we didn't, go through the tragedy of losing his predecessor. Unfortunately, during COVID, we had another tragic moment. But, like, life goes on, and you don't forget, you don't throw out, like, all of the things that you cherish. But you have to, I think, leave room for things to happen, and to hopefully get better. And I think that can only really happen if you have that sense of hope, and you allow things to get better, and to show up in a better way for you. So I thought that was
Absolutely.
good. See, we got some chatter. Shanda says, good one, plenty of time. Awesome, love it. Definitely feel renewed and refreshed. Yeah, me too. I mean, look, like, there's some things, like, look, we're still facing the reality that I, I wish wasn't happening, like, and there's a certain amount of resistance is probably always going to be there. But, you take some time to get some perspective, and yeah, I do feel a little renewed and refreshed. And guess what? Like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that if I continue to pursue this kind of work, and this sense of optimism and this sense of hope, that I'm going to show up to every moment with all I got, and honor it. And I think honoring every moment is a really important thing. Gabby says, "Why so short?" Gabby, we said we're doing 5 prompts now. We're trying this out. I got your feedback. If you think it's short, I mean, definitely let me know. But yeah, no, we're doing 5 prompts, 4 minutes per prompt this time. So the reason for that is just that we've seen a bit of research that indicates that about 20 minutes is where you start to get the benefits, and then your cup starts to runneth over. And I think that's the sweet spot for us to start talking and sharing and stuff like that. So I hope you found it okay, Gabby. Didn't mean to agitate or anything like that, but yeah, that's the reason. Melissa says, from my witchy beliefs, I believe that nature holds the key to everything. It strives for balance and equilibrium. Destruction causes creation. Hardships make joy more beautiful. And yeah, I think that's,
Absolutely.
I would say that's, perhaps even a truth. You see it everywhere. You see it around you. Our earth has a wonderful way of correcting itself. Like, look, we're doing a number on our planet, but guess what? Our planet's gonna outlive all of us. It's gonna figure it out. But you look at all the systems in our world. They all have this way of kind of reaching that equilibrium. Like, what is it? The like homogenizing. No, that's I think that's a different one. But yeah, equalizing. Just state. There's sort of a regression to the mean that happens. The law of averages, like all of these things. It some people view it as vibration, right? And if you were to pluck a guitar string, it would go nuts and it would vibrate, but eventually it finds that balance. And balance is another thing we've journaled about in the past. Maybe we'll bring some of that into place, because yeah, sometimes, like, things can knock you off balance, and it's good to find a way back to that stabilization. But yeah, I mean, going back to your point, like, you see these things all the time. And one of the things that I'm kind of like trying to put some stock and some faith into is that our bodies, our human bodies, our pets' bodies, like, they are systems that have been refined over many, many, many years. And unfortunately, it's kind of a brutal process, right? With, like, survival of the fittest. But well, and I guess in the case of our pup, probably some breeding. So maybe think about that one a little bit. But in any case, I think there's systems in play that are designed to handle things that are maybe radical or gone rogue and out of balance and out of place. And hopefully, if you give everything the right ingredients, everything can function correctly and trend towards a nice and comforting balance. But yeah, definitely feel what you're saying. There's also, like, that dualistic nature that you're talking about, right? And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. One of the things that has been kind of crazy and kind of a trip is there's an incredible amount of sorrow that can come up when you embrace impermanence of people and things, and creatures that you love, just anything that you love and you want to hold on to. Like, there can be some really challenging emotions and feelings that come up when you acknowledge that it's not permanent. But at the same time, like, the flip side of that coin is, like, well, gosh, I mean, I can't tell you how much more I feel every hug that I give my pup, every kiss that he plants on my nose. It's he this isn't maybe an overshare. He farted in my face yesterday while we were snuggling, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna miss those farts someday. And it was like, I think, just leaving space for things to be, a little bit, a little bit more than, whatever we would paint them into a corner of being, I think, can actually enrich your experience. And, I as much as I'm scared, and as much as, this is a very challenging time for us, it's also these past, these past few days have been some of the most joy-filled and most love-filled days that I've experienced in a long time. And so, yeah, there's beauty in all of that, if you allow it.
100%. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa.
100%. Monica Ray says, I think this is totally a good idea. I actually feel like this often. Yeah. So, I mean, it's always good to check in with how you're feeling and, honor your feelings, acknowledge that they're, feelings and they will pass, like, that's part of, like, mindfulness meditation, right? You see a thought coming up, and, you're not the thought, you're not the feeling, you're the one who's experiencing it. And to bear witness to this experience is actually a real gift if you let go and you don't start to identify with those things that are temporary, and you start to identify with your actual nature, which is much, much bigger and much more powerful and much more beautiful than you could ever imagine. So I think hopefully we can all kind of tap into that together and amplify it together as a group. Heart Project says this is the first October in years in Las Vegas that actually feels like fall. And I was lamenting that it finally feels like my favorite season in October, and everything just feels hopeless. But I think we have more there. I felt like this was perfect it gives me something to find joy in during the pain. It gave me something to smile and appreciate, to see the little good things, like good fall weather. Yeah, I mean, like, would we even be able to truly appreciate things if, like, we, just kind of took them for granted and they were here all the time? Like, some of it can truly be a gift, I think. Trisha said, "My hope is my faith in God, who is my consistent and unshakable source of hope." I can resonate with that. I know that, I try not just to lean on faith when, when it's convenient, or when when something bad happens, but, like, hey, when something bad happens, like, it is really powerful to lean into some of these belief systems, and hold fast to that, because, I think that sometimes it's like, when things are out of control, like, being able to surrender to something bigger than you is actually really empowering. And so, that's I resonate with that, and, I've been finding a lot of comfort in that myself, and some of these times that can feel a little bit hopeless, for sure. Gabby says, spiritual people actually bring hope. Well, I hope so. Not all of them. So sometimes, but we won't go on that soapbox. But yeah, I think when it comes from the heart, absolutely. We already shared this one. There we go. You said the prompt of finding little joys, helped me acknowledge the weather as something wonderful during the personal muck. Yeah, and, like, talk about personal, right? Like, isn't it interesting how, like, we can sometimes take something like the weather personally, like, oh, it's raining today, like, I don't want it to rain. And it's like, I mean, it's not personal. It's not raining because, it wants to rain on your parade. It's just, nature doing what it does. And, like, a thing that I talk about it a lot, at risk of sounding like a broken record here, is just that, like, man, this world that we're all sharing, this moment that we're all sharing, is literally billions of years in the making, cause and effect happening. And, like, to try to, go back that billions of years, wherever it all started, and, try to make it about us, is it can I feel like it's helpful to kind of put things into perspective like that, because it kind of seems a little silly, and to acknowledge, like, the actual grandeur of the moment, having taken billions of years just to get here for you to experience, like that. Like, well, if we're going to make it personal, it can actually be really really sweet, right? Like, it's raining for you. you
Mhm.
know so yeah, I hope you can lean into that as well. Patricia says, I will be spending more time visualizing a hopeful and successful future using affirmations. I have identified my challenges and gratitudes. Yeah, a very good session tonight. I am much more hopeful. Thank you both. Well, you're so very welcome. And, thank you for
That's
sharing this
great.
space with us. And, I never want to make it too much about us. We obviously just can only share what we have going on in our own personal experience. But, I think, like, part of the magic here is that, like, well, we get to commune with all of you, and it's a shared experience, and it's a human experience. And, we could get into the particulars about what is happening, but, we're all experiencing a very similar thing, is just being a human being on this, rock hurling through outer space. Like, what a crazy thing. And, all the triumphs, all the heartbreaks, like, being a human is, like, just what a cool experience. And what a cool thing to have a space where we can share it and actually feel good about it. There are not a lot of spaces on the internet right now that feel good to share with people. And I'm just so grateful for all of you guys being here, and showing up for yourselves, showing up for each other. Like, obviously, they say, when the plane's going down, like, you got to put on your mask first. And, so many of us are, you're doing it wrong, and trying to, do all these things. Everything's going on all around us. But, like, the practice of, like, actually checking in, making sure that you're okay. And then, like, hopefully you are. And, if you're not, then hopefully you have, people you can check in with about that. But, I think real positive change can start from within, and once we are in our best selves and we bring that out into the world, like if all of us were doing that, like if all of us were journaling and sharing our insights instead of like just you know scrolling and rage tweeting at each other constantly, like imagine what we could get done. Imagine, or like even if it doesn't always have to be about productivity. We were talking about this with a friend of ours the other night who was over, and he is a Reiki practitioner, and he was giving Reiki to our pup, and he was just enjoying the energy, like our little dude. Like I know we're talking about him like he's like on like his deathbed or something, but he's like live and kicking, and he is just like this pure ball of joy, and it's like, imagine if we were all like that. Like we probably wouldn't get anything done. We would probably just be rolling around feeling all crazy and silly. So maybe it is good that we're not all just like unbridled joy constantly, but I feel like we could definitely use a little bit more of that love and a little bit more of that joy in our lives. And so I'm just so grateful that we have a little dude like that in our lives to really make that experience awesome. Alex, you're smiling. What's he
Honey,
doing over there?
the little dude's got to use the restroom, so I will be right back.
Okay.
Okay, be right back.
All right. I'll check in on the comments while you're out. Mary says, I was just thinking about regression to the mean. It's a hard concept to grasp when your hope is to make the good even better. Um, my hope is to build a life better for my little one to grow in. Yeah, and like, what a cool thing, right? Like, I mean, I don't have kids, and so oftentimes a lot of my stuff is focused on like, well, how do I make my stuff better? But like, what a cool thing, like to have a little one to that inspires you to make the world a better place, right? And you got to have hope for the world that we're creating for your little one to grow into, and I think that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, hopefully this was inspiring, and felt good, and hopefully I my hope for you is that the regression to the mean for you is I guess the mean can change, like even though it will always go to that homeostasis and back to the average. The average can change as well, and I don't want to get too much into like math and stuff here, but I hope that your mean is trending on the up and up and feeling better and better. Heather says, sending positive vibes your way. Yeah, we'll take all of them. Appreciate that. Mary says, but my affirmation is I believe. I believe things get better. I believe in healing for you guys. I believe in building a better future. I believe in the power of deep breaths. I believe. I love that. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us get hung up on our different beliefs, right? But like, I think we get hung up on like what comes after the I believe part, right? And it's like, well, I think just being willing, and you know what, I think you're taking it a step further. Like belief is like actually like that's faith, and like in a sort of I guess the next step would be I know, right? And so it's like, all right, like let's keep moving towards like this more positive orientation. And I think that like we were talking about vibrations, right? Like another thing that happens with vibrations besides like the regression to the mean and the homeostasis is there's another principle of resonance, right? If you pluck a guitar string and you have another guitar in the room, the same notes will resonate as you pluck the other string, even without touching the other one. And so, as we choose to show up in this world, however we do, and resonate, I think that we will make others resonate, and hopefully with all of us being a little bit more intentional about how we do that, that is, I don't want to get too psychobabbly here, but I feel like that's kind of scientific in a way. I don't know. I believe. Alex, that was our pup. How was the potty experience?
Oh,
Okay?
great! Now he's just licking his paws, but other than that, we're all good.
Okay. Speaking of potty experiences, shout out to Mary Kay, who is potty training her little one. I know that she's been working on that in our Monday sessions, and we've been holding her accountable to some. Hopefully that process is going well. I hope it's going well for you. Gabby says, I put a lot of my hope going back to school next year, spring 2026 at the college. My past experiences will bring me more joy and hope. 15 years of college, I gained a lot of knowledge and hope from my past professors. Yeah, well,
Good
teachers
luck,
are a very
Gabby.
powerful thing. It's great to, be in an environment where people are committed to growing and learning together. And so, yeah, that's my hope for you as well. I think that, we believe in you. Hopefully you get there and, you can acquire all the knowledge and skills that you need to, do what it is that you want to do in this world. And we're here for you. Melissa says, my affirmation: life is a beautiful, frustrating, messy, chaotic journey. Jump in, get dirty.
I love that. Well said, Melissa.
Trisha says, in Minnesota, we say that if you complain about the snow, you'll just be miserable, yet you still have the same amount of snow, right?
Right?
Yeah. Go make snow angels or snowmen. I never got to do that. I'm a little jealous. I know the grass is always greener, literally, right? Well, opposite. I don't know. I grew up in Florida and then moved to California. I've experienced snow like twice. I went skiing once.
and he's mentioned wanting to move to the East Coast on a couple of occasions, and I'm like, honey, I don't think you are ready for that. I don't quite think.
Look at me, I have my beanie on. It's
yeah,
like
you're basically as ready as you can be. Yeah.
I'm ready. I just want to, maybe we'll just do a trip, just see how it feels.
Yeah, let's try a trip first before you want to commit.
Monica says, praying for y'all. My family lost 4 fur babies in the last 10 years, but they were the best years ever. Yeah,
absolutely, Monica.
Loss is so tough. And it's like, it doesn't make it any easier that they are not human. They are beautiful souls in our lives, and they're our pup is our family member, and we really see it that way. And so yeah, look, difficult news that I wish I didn't hear, but guess what, we heard it. It's here. And so I think our challenge, and I think we've been rising to it. I'm really proud of us with how we've been showing up here, and we rise to the occasion. We're going to do everything we can to support our loved ones, in whatever they face. And, I think that's all we can do. And I would hope the same, if it were me, right? And I know it would be. And so, honoring that. And I think, holding on to a little bit of hope, right? Like, I've seen miraculous things happen. My father, who, he's my late father now, but he had his own battle with cancer, and there was a time where he was diagnosed with stage 4 renal cell carcinoma, and they didn't give us really good odds at all. Actually, it was really, 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 really bad odds. And we had our journey of like processing and receiving that information. But once we did, it was like, all right, well, like, what are we going to do with that? Like, we have time right now. Like, it's not, I'm looking at him like, I'm not going to mourn you until you're dead. And what we did was we just leaned into it. Every hug became more meaningful, like I was talking about before. Every moment, we decided to start going on vacations and just making every moment that we were alive a celebration that we were all still here together. And you know what? Like, I don't know if that is what did it, but like, hey, like, he happened to be one of those outlier cases that responded to his treatment. And despite them giving him virtually nil odds, he actually beat that cancer, stage 4 kidney cancer, into remission. And he was actually in remission for nearly a decade before, look, shit happens. Someone missed something on a scan. And it's like, all sorts of feelings and stuff about that. But like, what a gift that like we didn't give up, that we held on to hope and, didn't let it destroy us. We let it become some of the most amazing years of our lives and our experience together. And I'm forever grateful for that. I watched him transform. There was, I would say, like before that, and even during the earlier part, like there's a process that he went through where I think I saw his heart go from something that had been hardened because of his life experience into something that was just softened and opened up and just pouring his love out into the world. And wouldn't you know it, the love poured back in, and it was just such a profound experience. And obviously I never wish tragedy or illness or disease upon anyone, but I think like perspective and is a really interesting thing. And we were fortunate to find like a really sweet perspective on it all. And it didn't make it any easier to lose him, but we honored that experience as well. And I'm just so grateful for all of it. And it is. And there's so much love there. I'm just so grateful for it all. Gabby says, Jeremy Camp had a song called I Believe. Well, we'll have to check that out. Trisha says, I think we all need to see the puppy. Yeah, bring the pup. Don't pull your back out picking him up. He's like a 40-pound Frenchie mix. So... oh, my dude, you guys are going to see like my stinky little pride and joy. He's probably running around.
Oh, he's running around, that's for sure.
Is he making you chase him?
He's being extra silly right now. He won't let me pick him up.
Oh, Lee. Come on, you're famous. The people want you. The people want to see the pup.
Well, I'll have to show you the pup down here because he's playing too much.
Yeah, you're being silly.
He loves his toys, and he's still got a lot of great energy right now. So we're just really holding on to that. Here you go, little guy. Yeah, he's feeling good right now.
Monica said, yep, my father-in-law has a similar story, but those hugs feel so much better and mean so much more. Yeah. Well, and, I also have hope that this isn't the end either, right? I don't know. Maybe it is. And, I will treat it like it is and savor every moment. But I also do have hope that, maybe there's some sort of reckoning and maybe the end isn't the end. Maybe it's the end how we would perceive it. But, what if it's just the beginning? What if it's something even bigger and we're just clinging to this little rock in outer space like it's the only thing? When look up tonight. That's all I gotta say.
This is a great portrait of our little man.
That is our dude. That is the Bowie. The upright ear. Yep, he's a goofy, stinky little bunny. Well, he's a big bunny. He's a big jackalope. We're not sure what he is, to be honest. We believe he may have come from outer space, and you know what? He's here for a good time. Maybe not a long time, but good time for sure. So, folks. Speaking of good times, it's been a real good time hanging with all of you.
Yes,
once again,
so much.
Just so grateful that you guys show up every week and hang out with us. As I mentioned, we're going to be on hiatus for a little while, just, making sure that we are providing as much comfort and love and support for our little dude right here. And certainly he appreciates all the good vibes, the thoughts, the prayers, all of that. And, he is robust. He's only 5 and, he is a beefy dude, right? He is robust. I think he's going to be hopefully tolerating this treatment really, really well. And, he's got a whole lot of love in that tank of a body. So, I think he's gonna share some of it. Hey, dude.
and Gabby, don't worry, we're not going anywhere. We're just we're gonna take a little break to help out our pup. But we'll be back.
Definitely not giving up. not
Oh
giving
gosh,
up. We're just,
no.
yeah, no, we just need, we just need to make sure that we've got enough space and energy to make sure that we are helping our boy do what he's got to do. He's got some challenges up ahead, and we're gonna try to lighten his load and share the burden, and you know it doesn't all have to be bad. We got a little Airbnb by the treatment center. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna treat it like a little staycation, and modern medicine has come a very, very long way, and so we are holding on to hope. They will. I think I told Melissa this the other day. They will have to pry the hope from my cold, dead hands because I love this pup, and I love all you guys. I think this is amazing, what we're doing here. So appreciate you showing up again. And we'll be back soon, and I'll keep you all in the loop. Like, we're not, just going to disappear or anything like that. And so, I'll drop you guys a line and updates as far as the future schedule. And also, we've got some really cool things in the work. We've had to take a little bit of a detour with some of this news and, some of these challenges, but I have been working my butt off to create the coolest thing for you guys, and I can't wait to debut it. Like the next iteration of Journal Party. I am so proud of it, and I've got some bugs to iron out, and I think I mentioned this on the last call. If any of you guys are interested in helping me beta test the new things that we're developing, definitely shoot me a DM or send me an email to alex@journalparty.com. And we'll get you on the tester list, and you can help me squash some of those bugs, because we've got big plans. We've got so much love in the tank, like I was saying, and we intend to share it and have it amplify and multiply, and because we know it all comes back. Whatever you put out there, it comes back. So keep that in mind. Hold on to hope, everyone, and thank you for doing this work. We really appreciate you journaling with us this evening. So have a wonderful rest of your evening, rest of your week, and until next time, party on.
Party on. Bye.